Good morning. Happy Friday to you. Welcome to Cat's Home Chat, 107th episode, our first live one for the year. I want to ask you a question. Are you ready to live your best life and have your best life come alive in 2025? I know you are. And if you'd like to find out how we're going to give you some solutions for what we feel is a reality, and statistics support it, that 80% of resolutions fail by February. So resolutions don't work. And we don't want to blame ourselves for it. We don't want to beat ourselves up. We just need to understand what are the dynamics behind it. And we're going to go through the different, several reasons why resolutions fail. And then we're going to give you some alternatives so that you can have your life come alive in 2025. I know you can. I know we can do it together. This is an episode of Tada by Cat, Living by Design. And I hope that you share this and that you or someone you know will find maybe one thing that makes a difference or sparks an inspiration for you so that you can live your best life in 2025. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my co-host, husband, business partner, Mr. Jeffrey Wong, who's going to join me. Welcome, Jeff.
Good morning, everyone.
He's our tech support as well. We're streaming on, I don't know how many sites. And so he's got a little behind the scenes stuff to do before I bring him on. All is good, babe?
I'm sorry, I can't really understand. Everybody hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I'm hearing it's somewhat a little echo on my headphones. So.
Okay. Let me.
No. Don't do anything. I have to adjust here. So go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah.
You can. Okay. Awesome. So number one, why resolutions fail is lack of clarity and realistic goals. So, oftentimes they can be vague, like I want to get fit, or I want to be happier. Those are very vague, and unless we break them down and make them more specific, it's hard for us to have a plan and to follow that plan to fruition. Number two is motivation. This is a big one. In fact, it's funny, when preparing for this episode, I was scrolling on LinkedIn and I saw a little clip, or what he calls a 10-second elevator message from my son, who is the CEO of Kingdom Mine Investments, along with being the CEO of Sherman Portfolios. And it just resonated so much with this number two reason why resolutions fail, and that is motivation versus discipline. Most of us, or many of us, have gone to rah-rah seminars. Think of a Tony Robbins seminar, high impact, high energy, where we're pumped up, we're ready to go, we're excited, but then it fizzles out. And statistics share with us also that there's a very small percentage who then go home after these motivational seminars and actually put into action what they've done. So I'm going to play you this little 20-second clip from Adam Weisner, my son, full disclosure. What happened? I don't see. Here we go.
Intelligent, but lack discipline, and it's hard for them. But I've never met somebody who has discipline that didn't generally do well.
Technical. Here we go. We're going to start from the beginning. It's only 26 seconds. Here we go.
15 seconds of elevator advice. Discipline is greater than motivation. If you have discipline, you don't need motivation. I've met a lot of people who have been extremely intelligent but lack discipline, and it's hard for them. But I've never met somebody who has discipline that didn't generally do well across a broad range of categories. 15.
Okay. Let's see, how do I remove that? So poignant and right on, discipline over motivation. Tying into what I just said about, you can be motivated, but if you don't have discipline, which is really, setting up habits, consistent habits. I know you've quoted many times, Jeff. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
You've quoted many times. What's the Bruce Lee quote about?
Do you like water?
No, repetition.
Oh, rather, well, I don't think that's Bruce Lee. I actually got that from, I believe, Tommy Lasorda, the old manager for the LA Dodgers. Anyway, the saying is repetition is the mother of all skills.
Repetition is the mother of all skill. And, how do we get repetition? I used to tell myself, I'm kind of old school. I've got to have my, yes, I have a digital phone, but I have a planner. I need it written down. If something's not on my calendar, in this book or on my phone, it's not going to happen.
Right.
So it starts with planning, but then it's repetition. And that's where, as Adam talks about, it's the discipline, to put it on your calendar. It's the discipline to get up and actually do it, to take action. And before we go much further, I want to give just a quick plug, with my son's permission, for Kingdom Mindset Investing. At Kingdom Mindset Investing, their mission is to connect people with businesses that embody biblical principles and are committed to actively stewarding their time, talent, and treasure. Purpose beyond profit. And if that sounds like something you as a business or an individual would like more information, you can go on LinkedIn under Kingdom Mindset Investing. And that's my commercial for my son, and thanking him for letting us use his clip. Very proud of him, if you can't tell. Okay, so that's such a key one, motivation over discipline. Before we go to number 3, Jeff, is there anything that you want to add to that reason why resolutions fail?
No, not at all. Just keep going.
Okay, so number 3 is the all or nothing mindset. We've all done that. Sometimes we set too big of lofty of goals, and then we feel like we've failed. Perfectionism and rigid rules can really derail our progress, instead of, kind of going, okay, let me take this one step at a time and break it down into accessible, successful goals to build on to the next one. So what might that look like? We're going to talk about it in the ways that you can get out of this loop of setting up goals and not having them come to fruition. So number 4 is misaligned goals. Goals that lack emotional resonance are harder to achieve. And what does that mean? Well, maybe you're setting a goal that is important to someone else, but really not you. Sometimes we have to do that in business, depending on what our jobs are, who we work for. But hopefully you're working for someone that you are aligned with their vision and their goals. Much like I just described Kingdom Mindset. Their clients are going to be so aligned with, the purpose beyond profit mentality that how could they not, have goals and be resonating with those goals and have them misaligned? It just wouldn't happen. So something to think about there. Number 5 is no system of accountability. So, some people are more comfortable than others with having accountability, but even if you don't have a group or a person or a spouse or a partner, there's apps out there with technology today. You can set up an accountability, and really, I've always liked competing with myself. um, playing games with myself to see how I can stretch, a reasonable stretch, and set those up and see that I meet them. What are your thoughts on that accountability aspect, Jeff?
Well, accountability, from what I've noticed, is that everybody gives up too early. So and they take the accountability aspect of it out of the equation by making excuses, by making their own decisions in regards to why it failed. Justification. You know what I mean? So that's what I've noticed the key, and this goes all the way across from students I have from guitarists, musicians that didn't learn their songs, baseball players that is having a subpar season. In when you look at the aspect of commitment, you soon realize their commitment's not there. Right? So that's
really, I mean, that's a really great point, because it goes back to, well, maybe your goals are misaligned. Maybe you're taking guitar because your dad wants you to, and you don't really love it. You'd rather take drums. That's from a kid's perspective, but definitely, you've got to have a heart, a passion. It has to be aligned with the fabric of who you are. And I think so many of us don't find those quiet times, where we can really be true and discover who we really are beyond the external, what our parents have told us, teachers, employers, society, social media. That's not who you are. And those can be distractions that keep us from finding out, in our quiet spaces, with our Creator, who are we and where are we best aligned to put our efforts, because we all have 24 hours in a day, right? That we know of. Nobody has more or less. So yeah, I think that's key. Like you said, lack of emotional, or commitment, so you don't sustain it. You don't sustain it. And so it is helpful for those that need it to say, you know what, hey friend, I'm going to check in with you once a week or once every 2 weeks or whatever to see, how are you doing? Are you still on target? Is this still something you want to do? And it's not to say that we can't adjust, change, delete, add to our goals, right? Because we're living, breathing, moving, dynamic human beings. And sometimes, as we had September 1st, God comes in and says, I'm going to do something for you, and now you're going to change. Or we just have a change of heart, a change of mind, a change of circumstances. So, don't think that you can't change, adjust, delete, or add. I would say always be refining and revising as needed. Would you agree, Jeff?
Yeah, you do have to revise and make it fit. I still think that the key aspect of these resolutions, especially the number one failure to resolution, is the lack of understanding to self commitment, to self decisions, to, I think to establish a cornerstone that's of importance. And let me elaborate by saying it this way. Most I've seen that has this problem have never refined anything in their life in a long-term schedule. Well, what I mean by is that, you didn't do anything past 6 months to a year, you just don't have any kind of reference point about commitment for the long haul to see results that's bigger than what you can get immediate. So therefore, you never really understand the results or the comings of the rewards from the big picture. It's always, I wish I could do this, when like, especially when I was around the piano business a lot, I hear so many parents say, I wish I would have stuck to it. I wish I could play piano. I wish. And yet that stops very short of the wishings. Well, have you tried? Yes. Well, how long did you try? Well, I took it lessons for like 6 weeks. Well, that isn't anything. I mean, if we were to say, okay, we're going to put your kids in school and we're going to graduate them in 6 weeks and they're going to go out to the world, everybody would laugh and go, that wouldn't work. 6 weeks
Yeah,
is not enough,
yeah.
right?
Well, I'm going to stop you right there. Jeff is such an excellent point, and you've got to have that tenacity. It ties right in with a little section. We have a lot of material to go through, and I want to cover it all in our time frame. We might go over a little bit, but the science for lasting change, as I've researched, this, many of you have heard about the book. We're going to refer to books in this segment. One is The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, and he talks about understanding habit formation can lead to sustainable results. Now, I'm going to talk later about, through the subconscious mind, through something that I'm entering into as a study and practice to the subconscious mind. But many of you know that it takes 21 days to form a habit. So, studies have shown that over and over again. So if you can just commit to something new, and again, break it down into segments. Don't make it over saturated so that you do set yourself up for failure. 21 days, you've ingrained really what they call neuroplasticity, okay, which is it's a concept where the brain rewires itself to support your new behaviors. And science and has supported that. One of my favorite gurus, gosh, now I can't think of his name, but talks about the neuroplasticity and rewiring the brain. So the role of identity is another point that I want to bring up, and that is in order to achieve those lasting results, you want to have align yourself with a sense of self. So what does that look like? It could be, I am a healthy person, as opposed to, I want to lose 50 pounds or I want to lose weight. And it's okay to put a number on that. But amazingly enough, the subconscious mind, which is brilliant, will come up with a solution when you give it a broader sense of really, how you want to feel, where you want to be. I want to be healthy. I want to be active. I want to play with my kids and my grandkids. I want to, sleep well and feel good about my body, or simple as I am a healthy person. Again, versus I need to lose X number of weight. And I think that's speaks really to the change-making brain cells of our inner subconscious mind, much more effective. So I want to get through so we have time for solutions, because this isn't all about what we do wrong, but you have to kind of know, well, what am I doing that could be improved? Why do 80% of the people who make resolutions fail? First off, and I talked about that a minute ago, is to set an intention. What is your intention? To be healthy. Your brain knows how to be healthy. All of those things. As opposed to this time I will lose 25 pounds. When you don't hit that at that time, you're going to feel like a failure. So I think this will help. Setting an intention instead of a resolution, create a sense of calm and a sense of confidence for the new year. So that's the first alternative that you might want to think about. The second is to break the goals into micro steps. There used to be a saying, I'm probably dating myself, but how do you eat an elephant? Well, I don't eat elephants, but one bite at a time, right? That kind of says it all. Like, don't say, I got to do the whole thing. I read something, because I, like many of you, struggle to, keep gain 20 pounds, that kind of thing. And I read something that made so much sense. And that is that, number one, exercise is accumulative. And I had this aha, like, what? You mean I don't have to go to the gym and sweat for an hour, 5 days a week? And then I read another study that said, if you're at a desk, if you just get up once an hour and walk around your cubicle, your house, whatever, for 3 minutes, you will have done as much exercise and as much benefit to your body as taking a 30-minute walk. I was just like, ooh, wait a minute, I can do that. So I set the timer and I did that. Now, honestly, I got bored with that after a while. So this year, what I'm doing, full disclosure, it's going to sound kind of funny, but I do when I'm working from home, I drink a lot of water and I go to the bathroom quite a bit, like I tinkle. So every time, my commitment to myself is I don't do 50 or 100 squats in one setting, but I do 10 to 12 every time I go to the bathroom. Guess what? By the end of the day, I've done 100. So stay tuned. I'll have to check in with Jeff to see if my backside has been improved with all these squats. But I say that to share with you how incremental action is so powerful. And it's so much easier to go, yeah, I can wrap my brain around that. I can include that into my day. It's not overwhelming. And I'm not going to give up because I'm still going to be going to the bathroom. And how long does it take to do 12 squats while I'm in there before I come out? Right? So if you're wondering what I'm doing in there, Jeff, that's what I'm doing. So in this one article, they talk about use the 1% better everyday approach to focus on manageable actions. So an example of that would be what I just mentioned to you, the 12 squats every time I go tinkle. Another example could be instead of run a marathon, how about run for 5 minutes 3 times a week? Easy peasy, right? So before we go on to the last 3, is there anything on that, Jeff, that you wanted to mention? We're at 22 minutes.
No, keep going. Just
Okay.
make sure, enunciate a little bit clearer because I notice your microphones start to muff.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
2 microphones on here. Is this
Yeah,
better?
technical stuff on the podcast,
Is
right?
this better? Hello? Between this, no, this is a prop. This is a mic. Okay. So another suggestion is adopt a theme of the year. Choose a guiding word or phrase. So we, came up with for 2025 for our podcast, Your Best Life Will Come Alive in 2025. You can come up with your own, but it's broad. That's not specific, it's broad. But my mind, my body, my inputs, my dialogue inside knows the proper things to do, say, feel, and be to have it be an alive 2025. And that will mean something different to you. Come up with your own theme or word. I know a lot of folks for the new year will have a word. Last year we had, be more in 2024. So come up with your own, make it fun. Come up with a word or a theme and read it, say it, write it down. We're not going to talk about vision boards. That would be a whole nother segment, but if that works for you, I do encourage you, whether it's pictorial or simply writing it down somewhere where you will read it and see it every day to remind you, we have a lot of distractions and it's a busy life that we all live in. It just helps to ingrain and remind you where and who you want to be and how much more alive you want to be in 2025. So number 4 is one that actually came up that, interestingly enough, we're going to have a subsequent show on it because I have been interested in the power of hypnosis actually for over 4 decades when I cured myself of smoking over a half a pack of cigarettes a day through self-hypnosis. So that's another aspect that you might want to consider, to reprogram your limiting beliefs through hypnosis and NLP. It's powerful. It's faster than, in statistics tell you, it's extremely faster than psychoanalysts. For myself, within 3 sessions for myself, I was a non-smoker. So something to think about, and we're going to have a subsequent episode to officially launch. I'll give you a sneak peek. Heart space hypnosis, living by design, not by default. So you might want to consider that. Number 5, focus on systems, not goals. And I'm going to reference the second book, and that is Atomic Habits, which talks about building systems. Okay, so what is a system? It's similar to what we talked about in micro dosing, and that's not with drugs. Microdosing your goals, your intentions, we're going to call them, not your resolutions, your intentions, which can equate to goals, but micromanage them, microdose them. So what would that look like? And you know what? I did this when I wrote and finished my book, Miracles Online. And that is create a system where it's not, well, I got to write a book. Now, full disclosure, I started it 25 years ago. I don't suggest that you take that long for a goal, but we had life in between. It was powerful, and it was message to me, divine message to me, to finish the book, to commemorate Jeff and our 25th wedding anniversary. But what did I do? You create a system to write, and this is what I did, 30 minutes a day. Now, I'm going to write a book, just, you know what? I'm going to take time. I'm going to carve out time. I'm going to have that discipline, not that motivation, as Adam says, but the discipline to put it on my calendar so it exists and write 30 minutes a day. Now, will you always, complete that? Maybe not, but that's okay. I'll give you an example. I made a commitment that I'm going to input 3 poems into the computer that I've written, which is going to be my second, well, really third book on poems, yet to be named. I only did 1, but you know what? I felt really good. I just arrowed to the next day, and okay, I'll do 2 more the next day. Because, if we don't write it down, if we don't do it, even if it's micro, we're going to look back and we'll be right where we started, right? So that, I think that's really important. So I'm going to quickly go through 3 exercises that you might want to try. Okay. Number 1 is a visualization exercise. You're going to visualize, and this is really poignant when you get into hypnosis, just FYI, because the subconscious level, whether you realize it or not, controls our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and actions. 80% of that is controlled by our subconscious, which is pretty mind-blowing. But you can do it on just a standard level, and that is to close your eyes and focus on not what it is you want to do, but how you want to feel, right? So whatever endeavor it is, focus on how you want to feel in that place, in that moment when you arrive at that place. Number 2, you can reframe your failures. So this is an important aspect, I believe, because the most important conversation I believe that you will ever have is the dialogue up in your head. So if that's the most important, are you monitoring? Are you editing, crediting, replacing negative thoughts about yourself, about others, judgments, etc.? Really raising your, your level of consciousness. That's what that entails. In every moment and every thought that you are self-correcting, if need be, and you're turning, you're turning those setbacks and as feedback, okay? So we all have setbacks, but don't call them failures. It's like, okay, what am I to learn here? I've had a little setback. And I'm sure many of you have experienced, as I have, where I thought it was a setback and it was really a push forward, a divine push forward. That's a whole nother segment. I could share some stories on that. But ask, what can you learn from this? And how can you adjust your approach? I think that's how we all get better. And incrementally, we might go back 2 steps and then we're ahead 3 steps and we're back 1 and above 2. And it's amazing how at the end of that, as we keep adjusting and reframing, that we look back and go, wow, I'm in such an amazing place. Number 3, have an attitude of gratitude. This rewires the brain also for positivity and perseverance. Being grateful, it's amazing how it magnetizes more blessings. It really is. It really is amazing. So I hope that.
Discipline.
Need motivation. Oops, I hit a button.
There's been a lot of people who
my bad.
Extremely intelligent, but lack discipline.
Okay, well, let's hear it one more time.
And it's hard for them. But I've never met somebody who has discipline that didn't generally do well across a broad range of categories. Wow.
So I never tire of hearing my son, and he's just so wise. So I feel so blessed to be able to share his elevator speech or segment of wisdom, because it really does come down to discipline. Really, what are we putting on our calendar? What are we doing? It doesn't have to be huge, guys. Just do it. Do something. It's in alignment with who you are, and you will be amazed and blown away. I'm going to close with a poem. It's going to be included in my book of poems. Haven't named the book yet. And I actually read this on an episode a few months ago. I think one of the last live ones we did, right, Jeff?
Yes.
I think so. And I'm going to give you a backstory to this poem, because it was in the summertime and I was overwhelmed by the mess in the garage, because although we have like 5 units in storage for our staging and design, there's definitely overflow, plus all our stocking, personal stocking, etc. And I was overwhelmed at where to start, because I'm not one that's, there's no way I was going to gut it. And I came to the mindset, you know what? I'm just going to take this 8x6 segment that's bothering me the most, and I'm going to clean it. And we had all kinds of things to clean. I won't go into detail or gross you out, but at any rate, this poem was crafted after that. So I hope you enjoy it. It's called The Prize is Waiting. One step is all that is needed, with your eye on the big prize. If you just do one thing that will take you to your destination, you will eradicate and disseminate all doubt and hesitation, or what I call procrastination. Steps 2, 3, and 4 and more will magically be behind you as you gain such amazing speed and grand momentum, building on one step and into so many and many massive little actions that now has so much traction. As you're looking back in awe, you see the thing you completed, which you never thought you would or could. It stands to reason to know and see the glory before you that began with just a single step that set you free and showed you how much you are the hero in your grand, amazing life, not a prisoner of all the lies that seem to swirl inside your head, that you are perfectly amazing just the way you are, and you have always been enough and more. Just take a step. You'll know it's right. The prize is waiting. It's right in sight. So go out and grab your best life, and your best life will come alive in 2025. I hope you found some insights, some ideas, something that resonated or struck a chord with you. And we'll hope to see you next week on another live show. Have a super Friday and an amazing weekend. Thank you, Jeff, so much. And see you next week, all.
Come back, see you next week.